Tonight, the latest on a man accused of kidnapping and killing his estranged wife. Ibrahim Al-Ahmad finally appeared in court today, one day before a planned rally in support of his slain wife.
Who in their right mind in Newfoundland and Labrador signed these contracts?
The nurses union says the province has handcuffed itself to restrictive contracts for travel nurses.
The obstetric unit in Gander has delivered its first baby, and a mom here in Carmenville is especially glad it was open in time to welcome her new son.
I would have been pretty nervous because I don't know if I would have made it, and it was snow covered on the roads when we did leave to go in. So I'm not really sure if we would have made it or not, but I'm glad I didn't have to drive 2 hours to Grand Falls to have a baby.
We'll have that story later on Here and Now.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes. Tonight, a former Mountie is facing criminal charges. He's accused of perjury and obstructing justice while testifying at the trial of a fellow officer. The province's police watchdog alleges Paul Dirtle gave false testimony at the trial of RCMP Constable Michael Wheeler last June. The Supreme Court later convicted Wheeler of firearms offenses. It all stems from an incident that took place in Dirtle's home on Bell Island. A woman told the court that Wheeler, who was drinking at the time, put her in a headlock before holding a gun to her head. The woman testified that Dirtle attempted to intervene, though he denied that during the trial. Paul Dirtle has since resigned from the RCMP. He's expected back in court in May. And reporters finally got a glimpse of the St. John's man accused of kidnapping and killing his wife earlier this month. CBC can't share today's footage of Ibrahim Al-Ahmad because a judge said so. But as Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports, plans for a rally in support of his slain wife are pushing ahead.
The first 3 times Ibrahim Al-Ahmad came before a judge, it was by telephone, and the 36-year-old was in hospital recovering from injuries to his neck and wrist. But this morning he appeared by video from Her Majesty's Penitentiary before this man, Provincial Court Judge James Walsh. But Walsh forbid reporters from taking pictures of the television screen on which Al-Ahmad was appearing. There's a publication ban on the names of 20 people linked to this horrific case. And the judge said he's worried that allowing courtroom images of Al-Ahmad would contravene this publication ban. So all we can tell you is that Al-Ahmad was bearded, dressed in a dark shirt, and there was a white bandage wrapping his left wrist. Here's a photo of Al-Ahmad from Facebook. He's facing 18 criminal charges, including kidnapping and murdering his wife, and a series of assault, uttering threats, and forcible confinement charges in connection with a history of alleged abusive behavior toward his wife and 5 children. A court ordered Al-Ahmad to stay away from his family. But Nariman Al-Ghafour's body was discovered inside this abandoned house in Outer Cove on March 5th. Police believe Al-Ahmad abducted his estranged wife that morning and took her to the house. A person working at a business nearby tells CBC that a man matching Al-Ahmad's description came to the business that morning. He was covered in blood, with injuries to his neck and wrist. Al-Ahmad was initially quiet as the judge and lawyers discussed the case, with an interpreter translating the proceedings into Arabic for the accused. Legal aid lawyer Mark Grushi appeared on behalf of Al-Ahmad, and Grushi asked that the matter be set over for a few weeks so a permanent lawyer could be assigned to the case. But Al-Ahmad surprised everyone when he asked to speak. He told Judge Walsh that he wanted a new lawyer. He suggested he had a problem with Grushi's representation because Grushi is on the side of a woman who cannot be identified because of a publication ban. Through the interpreter, Al-Ahmad blamed this unidentified woman for part of the problem with his family. Grushi responded by saying he believed there was some confusion in the translation and that a lawyer at public expense will be assigned to Al-Ahmad for his next appearance on April 11th. Meanwhile, friends and supporters of Nariman Al-Ghafour will gather for a vigil outside a courthouse on Duckworth Street on Thursday. The vigil begins at 5 p.m. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
In other news, the Registered Nurses Union is again asking the Auditor General to investigate contracts that this province has signed with private nursing companies. This comes after the union learned of a contract stipulation that prevents agency nurses from working for the province for up to a year. Here Now's Mark Quinn explains.
We've really handcuffed ourselves here in this province.
The president of the Registered Nurses Union is baffled by the terms Newfoundland and Labrador accepted when it contracted agencies to provide nurses here. She says contracts she has seen prevent nurses who worked for an agency from being hired by the health authority for 12 months after their agency contract expires. And some contracts require the province to pay a penalty of up to a year's worth of what the agency would have received for a nurse that is hired away from them. The province is short 700 nurses. Coffey is outraged that it accepted terms that she believes prevents the province from addressing that.
But who in their right mind in Newfoundland and Labrador signed these contracts knowing that we have over 700 vacancies here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador?
The contracts protect the agencies, but what does Newfoundland and Labrador get? The Health Authority and the Health Minister both say, in return, the province receives a clause saying the agencies can't poach nurses away from the public system.
If there wasn't a protection built into the contract to ensure that agencies did not recruit our nurses to work as agency nurses in their same position, in the same hospital or the same community, they would drain our workforce. Likewise, the agencies put in a protection to ensure that they bring an agency nurse from another province to work in this province. They need to have that assurance that we're not going to recruit their workforce away.
Osborne says the restrictions apply to nurses who were brought to this province from another jurisdiction, and that, he says, is a small number of nurses. He says this province had to accept those terms to hire agency nurses and keep emergency departments open. So did the contracts actually prevent the agencies from poaching nurses from the public system? Coffey says no.
We have heard lots of it about our nurses here in Newfoundland and Labrador leaving mental health services and signing on with agencies. St. John's nurses working in Corner Brook and vice versa. So that did happen, but there was no one tracking it.
Coffey wants the province's Auditor General to do a deep investigation of agency nurses, also known as travel nurses. In an email, the Auditor General's office said travel nursing is certainly a topic that is being actively considered for audit. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Premier Andrew Furey says he is considering setting up a provincial office in Boston. Furey says the government wants to find new markets for seafood, hydrogen, electricity, and minerals. He says opening an office would help make investors and buyers aware of what Newfoundland and Labrador has to offer. The province has no other international offices. The Premier said he picked Boston because of its proximity to this province and to decision makers in Washington. The province is spending $15 million over the next 2 years on temporary upgrades to Her Majesty's Penitentiary. The money was a part of the latest budget, and it's for things like new recreation space, programming, and improving visitation access. But there was no money in the budget for construction of a new prison to replace HMP. That is despite government promising a new prison back in 2019. The province is assessing qualifications of the only company to come forward to do the work.
The costs have gone a lot, I think more than double, maybe almost triple what the initial budget was several years ago when it was looked at this new facility. So the department felt it was appropriate to reevaluate the process, reevaluate the companies, ask companies to bid, and at the same time look at the facility and see if there's any changes for cost-saving measures there as well.
Lawyers and advocates have called conditions at the jail deplorable, and the prison is also plagued with staff shortages. The government did budget money this year to hire more correctional officers, and most of them will be working at HMP. That's something advocates say they're happy to see.
I think, that's certainly going to go a long way to improving access to the prison and, help improving conditions for those who are working down there. I mean, with the forced overtime, people were really tired and demoralized because, the forced time extra time they had to work. I mean, it has a real impact on family and all kinds of things. So I think that this is a positive move.
The Federal Department of Fisheries and Oceans has agreed to push the opening of the snow crab season. It's following a request from the FFAW and a threat of more protests. DFO made the decision a day after the union wrote the department asking for a 1-week delay. Harvesters want time to iron out details of last week's agreement with the provincial government, which could bring sweeping changes to the industry and affect the upcoming season. The season was expected to start on Monday. The new date is April 6th for some areas and mid to late April for others. This is the second year in a row the season has been delayed. Last year, fish harvesters pushed the opening by 6 weeks as they protested low crab prices.
Oh, we had a beautiful start to the day here in the east. The clouds have now moved in. As you can see, our live shot from the room's camera there. It's still a lovely day, about +1 right now with those clouds definitely on the increase. The winds generally light, around 13 kilometers per hour. If we take a look at the radar picture, though, there are some showers working their way to really across the island. Some ice pellets in the mixture there as well. To the north, though, northern peninsula, southeastern portions of Labrador, you are seeing some light snow at the moment. But as this continues to march further north, we are going to see that change over to some freezing rain. Environment Canada has that freezing rain warning in place for the northern peninsula, southeastern Labrador, including Eagle River. And you will see that, like I said, change over tonight. It'll be through the evening before those temperatures warm up and we see that change over to rain. Now to the south, Environment Canada also has a wreck house wind warning. Temperatures over the next couple of days are going to be mild into the double digits tomorrow for parts of the province, even up across Labrador. I'll get into all the details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. To Norris Arm now, where police stopped a driver going nearly 200 kilometers per hour this morning. The 18-year-old was spotted by police on the Trans-Canada shortly after 8, traveling 197 kilometers an hour. The RCMP say the teen didn't stop for police, but when the driver did pull over, they were ticketed for offenses, as well as for having more than the allowed quantity of cannabis. The driver's license was suspended. The car was also impounded. And it was a milestone day for a Carmanville couple. Not only was their son born, but he was delivered in the obstetrics unit at the Gander Hospital just 2 days after it opened. Troy Turner brings us that story.
1-week-old Thomas Butler is a picture of health and the apple of his parents' eyes. He's also the first baby born at the new obstetrics unit.
My first one, the girl, she was born in Grand Falls. And my boy, he was born in Gander, thankfully. And then that's when they shut it down again. And they just opened up just in time for my third one.
After almost 2 years of patients driving for hours for obstetrics service, the long-promised, long-awaited unit opened last week.
They were just anxiously waiting for somebody to come in and have a baby. One girl even predicted that someone was going to come in tonight with a boy. And she was right.
It's nearly an hour's drive to the hospital from Carmanville, where baby Thomas lives. Amber Sims says she was lucky she didn't have to drive to Grand Falls, Windsor, where the obstetrics unit was located.
I would have been pretty nervous because I don't know if I would have made it. And it was snow covered on the roads when we did leave to go in. So I'm not really sure if we would have made it or not. But I'm glad I didn't have to drive 2 hours to Grand Falls to have a baby. I went on up to the unit and they never even put me in a room. They just brought me straight down to the case room, and she said, I looked at your file. She said, you was only 2 hours when you had your last one. And at 5:57, I had Thomas.
Thomas's middle name, James, is also a shout out to the hospital's namesake.
And it was a really great staff. They made me feel comfortable, so it was good.
Sims says she is grateful to the staff of the obstetrics unit in Gander for making her feel so comfortable during the delivery of baby Thomas. But she's especially glad she didn't need to tack an extra 1 hour onto that middle of the night drive in order to make that delivery happen. Troy Turner.
The Churchill Park Music Festival is returning to St. John's for a third year. Let's go, girls. This year's headliner is Grammy Award-winning country pop star Shania Twain. According to organizers, St. John's will be Shania's only Canadian show this summer. Other acts include Alan Doyle, Lindsay Ell, and Talk. Shania is set to perform back-to-back nights at the Outdoor Festival on Friday, August 16th and Saturday, the 17th.
I watched an interview on MSNBC a few days back. She did it maybe about her upbringing and her childhood, and I mean, one amazing woman that even if you're not a country fan, I think you fall in love with the woman, you know, that she is the person. And I think that that shines to her, and I mean, the long history of her greatest hits and coming from nothing or little and growing to where she's gotten, I got a lot of appreciation for that.
Says there is a pre-sale for tickets early next month, with general tickets going on sale a couple of days later. For more of our conversation with Pete Quinton, stay tuned. That'll be up in about 15 minutes on Here and Now. And staying with annual music festivals, the Iceberg Alley Big Top will be back this June. But once again, the lineup is dominated by men. The 10-day festival is held alongside Kitty Vitty Lake in St. John's, and for years there has been public pushback to include more female acts. But organizers say it's not that simple. Our Aoife Alaba had that question and put it to the organizers of Iceberg Alley.
I've heard the complaints about the lack of women in the lineup for Iceberg Alley, not just this year, but in previous years. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so we live in an island in the middle of the Atlantic. So in order to get these 30 bands to play, we put out about 100 offers based on price, availability, the type of genre of music we have that night. So out of those offers, which are made up of male and female, we kind of get what we get based upon, you know, the offers being accepted or not.
Why do you think, for example, Churchill Festival had an easier time scheduling big female acts like Alanis than you guys have scheduling?
Yeah, and I also work that show as well. And you know, again, it's scheduling and it's luck. So when you're booking a festival, you're looking for artists who are going to sell tickets. Other years we've had more female artists than we do this year. Next year we could have 80%. It depends on the scheduling and where they're playing at the time. Yeah. And it's just the luck of the draw for Churchill Park, and it's excellent because that was an amazing show.
In other news now, CBC Newfoundland and Labrador has been nominated for 8 Atlantic Journalism Awards for stories over the past year.
After years of chemotherapy and pills, Booney is back. How does it feel to have done that now today?
Couldn't ask for better, made me happy.
That is Terry Roberts' story, Booney's Trees. For years, folks have been driving to Clarenville to get a Christmas tree from Booney Lethbridge. And now that he's battling cancer, Terry tagged along as he chopped down one more tree. Terry, along with Ted Dillon and Daryl Murphy, are nominated in the video feature category.
There's one house that I will never forget. There was a separation between the walls and the floor and the ceiling, and it was held together by foam insulation.
That is a special CBC Investigate reports about how Canada's housing crisis is hitting hard in Northern Labrador. Ariana Kelland, Rob Antle, and Katie Breen are nominated for social justice reporting and writing. Their work took them to Nain, where Inuit have been living in deplorable conditions for decades.
The transplant? A heart transplant. A little over a year ago, the Pellys didn't know how long Dex had to live.
If I had to get up here and walk to you, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Benita will tell you that her faith...
That is a story from our Sarah Blackmore. She is nominated in the audio feature category. Now that is a story called Change of Heart, which quite literally moved one couple to renew their wedding vows. Congratulations to all of our colleagues and the nominees. And you can find the full list of nominees as well as links to those award-winning stories on our website. That's at cbc.ca/NL. That is students and staff from St. Augustine's Elementary on Bell Island today. A couple of our CBC colleagues were at the Wabana School to learn about a cool mural project that students are working on. That's before paying a visit to all of the excited kids as they prepare for their much-deserved spring break.
It's certainly going to feel like spring. We are definitely in for a warm-up. We've got some rain on the way as well. This is kind of just setting the stage. I'll get into all the details coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. The bonus prize deadline is midnight, Friday, April 12th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Now, Ashley's here with the weather. Wondering if you have a crystal ball that you can look into and see if the weather's going to be good when Shania Twain is here in August.
Oh, it better be. I'm going to be there, rain or shine. So I don't even care if it's pouring rain. I will be there. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I bet you are. You're a super fan. But I guess I'll just have to settle for the weather tonight and tomorrow and over the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, I can tell you it will be pouring eventually at some point over the next couple of days, as we've got a big area of low pressure that is going to bring quite a bit of moisture with it. But for the time being, still kind of sitting under that ridge of high pressure to here in the east. Anyway, it's just heading offshore as we speak. And this area of low pressure here is what is going to be our weather maker. So we're already seeing some showers today. The freezing rain warnings are in place for the northern peninsula, southeastern portions of Labrador. But your temperatures are sitting below zero for the most part for the northern peninsula. That's where you topped out at today, about 0 degrees. Across the island, the rest of the island above zero. Anywhere from 3 to 7 degrees. This is just the start, though. Temperatures, once we really get into that southerly flow, are going to warm up, and up across Labrador as well, hovering around 0 degrees. 4 in Cartwright, -5 in Nain today. We take a look at where we're sitting right now. Like I said, temperature down to about -1 in St. Anthony. So this is where you'll bottom out tonight, and then temperatures are going to warm up as we head through the overnight. Mary's Harbour sitting around -2 as well. So that is going to set the stage for that freezing drizzle, or freezing rain rather. And then we've also got that heavy wind or high wind, Wreckhouse area, seeing that gust around 91 kilometers per hour at the moment, topped out at about 102. The wind should start to come down, but that wind warning is still very much in place at the moment. But like I said, we should eventually see those winds ease as we head through tonight. And then we've got that freezing rain warning. So can't see that on the radar, but seeing reports of some flurries. And once this front continues to track a little bit further north, we'll get into that freezing rain. And in behind that, once the temperatures warm up, we will see that change over to some rain. And that's where we're sitting in behind that. Not a whole lot of moisture now, but we are going to see more of that move in over tomorrow and then eventually even into Friday as well. So here's a look at what's happening right now. Most of the moisture up across Labrador, things starting out as some flurries, changing over to ice pellets, and then the freezing rain. So most of you will be seeing that freezing rain through midnight for the northern peninsula before changing over to rain, and southeastern Labrador as well. You'll start to see that around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That will change back over to rain. And then rain will be the story as we head into the morning hours for the northern peninsula and western portions of Labrador as well. Temperatures, this is where we'll sit, 0 to about +4. Winds not overly impressive, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Labrador, you're going to sit somewhere between -4 and about +1 as your overnight. Now, into tomorrow, we're going to watch this front hang out. This area of low pressure is going to hang out for a little while. It is going to bring the chance of some showers tomorrow for essentially the western half of the island. By the time we get into the afternoon hours, central will start seeing some of those showers as well. Things will dry out up across Labrador, and we're really going to see this rain continue right through Thursday and into Friday, and potentially even into Saturday as well for parts of the province. And then we'll see some snow move back in for Lab City by the time we get into Friday morning. So through the Thursday to Friday morning time frame, it could pick up somewhere between 20 to 30 millimeters of rain along the west coast and parts of the southwest coast, as well as the northern peninsula. And our temperatures tomorrow, look at this, quite mild, 8 to 11 degrees, cooler along the south coast in that onshore flow. Again, winds out of the southwest, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Up across Labrador, though, you are looking at your temperatures into the single digits, 11 degrees in Happy Valley Goose Bay, with that sunshine tomorrow for parts of the day, at least some peaks of the sun. So definitely some warm air. But like I said, this mild air is coming with the potential for some heavy rain, and that will be in the Friday to Saturday timeframe. Environment Canada has a special weather statement in effect. We'll break all of that down for you coming up a little later in the show.
Well, you may know Patrick Moran from the Punters, the 8-track Favorites, or Shanneyganock. He's been fiddling on the sidelines for the last few decades, but now he's stepping forward with a new group. Not to worry, his fiddle hasn't gone far. Take a look.
They're the hottest Celtic rock band in Newfoundland. Let's hear from them, please. The Punters.
My role was predominantly like I was a side guy who probably sang maybe if you're doing an hour and a half set a night or whatever on a show, or 2 hours, I'd probably, sing maybe 2 songs.
On the fiddle tonight and every night, Mr. Patrick Moran over there.
But most of my role was always the side guy in support of the lead singers and stuff. That was my bread and butter side man through and through. And that's a little different now with this new band I've kind of got started, where I'm kind of sort of in the front. Hey, hey, Mr. Bartender, please don't be so slow. It's basically like my name on the bill, but I'm still the side guy. So, because we have a great lead singer, Marcus Green, who's splitting the singing with me. Like either during COVID or after COVID or before COVID, like I was kind of just in the same, you were just doing your day in, day out. This was your, whoever I was playing with or doing whatever. But COVID kind of gave you a chance to kind of think about things because everything just stopped. And I always kind of like dabbled a little bit in like songwriting and, singing at home. I was a singer before I ever played the fiddle, like as a kid, a little kid, I'd be in choirs. And I said, I wonder maybe should I start my own band? I know enough musicians, like I know enough guys, and we're still kind of finding our feet in what we're doing musically. But we're doing some originals, we're doing some covers, we're doing some instrumentals. Like in the bands I played with, we were kind of, what we play is what we play, and sometimes you don't color outside the lines a lot. And with this outfit, I think we're willing to try any kind of music or any song to see if it works. Where I know in other bands you play with, it's like, nah, we can't do that because we're a Newfoundland band. Or it takes a while sometimes to get, it's like, I got an idea for a song, and it takes a while. There's a bit of red tape within bands. So I said, I'm going to get through the red tape, start my own band. I've just always wanted to kind of do that, something a little different. My tastes vary from I like every kind of music. So.
And if you'd like to hear more of Patrick Moran and that band, they play downtown St. John's this coming Saturday night at EHA.
Any man of mine better be proud of me. Even when I'm ugly, still better love me. And that don't impress me much.
The Churchill Park Music Festival has this impressive headliner with more with concert promoter Pete Quinton. That is just ahead on Here and Now.
Any man of mine better walk the line. Better show me a teasing, squeezing, pleasing kind of time.
She's a superstar, a Canadian music icon. She has Las Vegas residencies, a 5-time Grammy Award winner. That don't impress me much. Actually, it does. Shania Twain, she's coming to St. John's, Newfoundland for the Churchill Park Music Festival this August. Come on over. We've got Pete Quinton here. He's the promoter of the concert. Thank you for being with us,
You're
Pete.
welcome. How you doing?
I'm well. What's in store for the concert?
Oh, lots in store. I mean, obviously a great artist, a great support lineup. We're still working on some of that. And I think, you know, you're going to get a world-class game. I mean, Shania is a world-class A-lister, in my opinion. A lot of people's opinion. And I think she's going to bring a show that's going to blow the doors off.
Yeah, and this is going to be her only Canadian date this summer, I understand.
It could be her only Canadian date this year, but it is certainly the summer because she's coming out of Europe, takes some time, doing her Vegas residency in April 23rd, but coming out here doing our 2 shows, and then back to Vegas. So I don't know what'll happen after that.
What was it like trying to book her, to get her to come to Newfoundland? Because we're a little out of the way sometimes.
Yeah, 5-6 years of work. We're a lot out of the way, but you know, you know, she's got a good agent who I know quite well, a friend of mine, and we've been working it for a while. And, you know, finally she's done, I guess, most of Canada, never been to Newfoundland. And I think it looked like was the time she wanted to do it, and we were there, and it's great. So.
You know, I remember from my own personal life, The Woman in Me, not CD, but the tape in the car in the 90s.
Exactly.
So she's my demographic, but like, who are you hoping is going to come to this concert, and what do you think demand is going to be like?
Well, I mean, we launched this morning, and I mean, in our Facebook and different places, anybody from really young to, you know, way up there, older than I am. But it's a lot of buzz. You know, Atlantis was huge last year. Lumineers were huge. We had a big launch there, sold out Atlantis in like 2 hours. But this is seems even bigger than that.
If demand is so high that Alanis Morissette sold out in 2 hours, what do you think it's going to be for Shania? And will there be any extra shows if she sells out in minutes?
I mean, we got 2 shows, right? That's why we did it that way. I knew she was too big for one, and Churchill was only a certain capacity. It's a lot of demand there.
Of course, the festival has more than just music. It has other amenities. What will be there for people who want to go?
Well, we'll have, you know, there's food amenities there. We'll have a beverage area, of course, right? You know, and there'll be an all ages section as well. People can bring launchers up to a certain point. We're updating our site with accessibility, and all the regular things come with a festival, you know.
And I know some other festivals have come under fire for a lack of female performers in their lineup. And last year you had Alanis, a female performer. She sold out. This year you've got Shania Twain, who is an iconic power woman. Is that a conversation that you're having at the table when you are thinking about who you want to book for this show?
No, not really. I mean, I was after Alanis too for 5 years, but I think that, you know, over here it's sometimes the luck of the draw. Like, I mean, I get into the game. I booked George Street as well, and we did lots of stuff over the years and haven't had that much female representation. Sometimes it's you got to take what you can get in Newfoundland to some degree. It's certain artists, and I think everybody goes out for a well-rounded diversity. But if you can't get it, it's just not there. You need someone who can sell tickets, and if that's a female artist, that's great. If it's a male artist, it's great. You know, and that's just the way it goes. I think it's the luck of the draw. And in Newfoundland, geographically, in the middle of the summer, they've got lots of other options. So we're lucky to be able to pool what we can get, you know.
What excites you most about having Shania Twain come to Newfoundland?
I just think the person herself. Like, I watched an interview on MSNBC a few days back. She did it maybe about her upbringing and her childhood, and I mean, one amazing woman that even if you're not a country fan, I think you fall in love with the woman, you know, that she is the person. And I think that that shines to her, and I mean, the long history of her greatest hits and coming from nothing or little and growing to where she's gotten, I got a lot of appreciation for that.
Pete, will you have any more acts announced later?
Yeah, currently we're working on the weekend before. It could end up other acts added to this weekend, like one day around the weekend. We'll have a couple more support acts, some local stuff to hoping to might add a second stage for local here as well, if I got the ability to do it. And so we're working on hopefully a little bit of rock and roll and stuff too to keep everybody pleased. You know?
Best thing about being a woman is the
In the meantime, how can you get tickets and when do they go on sale?
Tickets, you go to our website, churchillparkmusicfestival.com. Public on sale is April the 4th at noon. But we are doing a pre-sale. The artists want to do a pre-sale. So we're doing a pre-sale Shania Twain fan club. And also we've got an insider group on our own website. You sign up to our insider, we're doing a pre-sale through there. So I would encourage anyone at early access to go there. There will be tickets available in the public on sale on the 4th, but on April the 2nd at noon, there will be a pre-sale as well, which I can imagine by the look of it is going to be pretty busy.
Sounds like it. All right, Pete, thanks so much for breaking all this down for us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that.
Well, coming up, shoring up the shoreline, how a multi-million-dollar project is protecting a scenic beach and lighthouse sitting on the edge of Prince Edward Island. Welcome back. We want to tell you about a multi-million-dollar project on PEI that's preserving an eroding shore near the West Point Lighthouse. CBC's Sheehan Desjardins has more on what's being done to protect the beach from being swept out to sea.
If you've never been to West Point, there's this long red beach, a super tall lighthouse that some people think is haunted, but the beach had been disappearing, and some people actually worried that the lighthouse could be swept away. So what do? Can you build back a beach? Can you actually protect the shoreline? We came here to find out.
Hi, Sheehan.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So you built these?
Yes, we built 2 reefs this year and 5 in 21.
Where'd you get the rock from?
It came from Memramcook in New Brunswick.
So you had to bring it all over here?
Yes.
And what did it look like here when you folks started?
We were probably standing in 3 or 4 feet of water where we are now, and we had to build a causeway out to the reefs. And when there was about 3,000 tons of rock per reef, and then we had to peel the roads back. I think eventually, like maybe not in my time, but they'll eventually be filled right over the top with sand, eventually.
What do you think would have happened if those weren't there?
I think the lighthouse would be gone. Yeah, it would have. They put like a temporary sand fence in front of it, like it's just wood and rocks, but it would be gone for sure. The parking lot was falling into the ocean then, so everything they've done has worked.
Knock on wood, our projects have been going very, very well, and we're really pleased with results so far. And at the same time, though, we're monitoring all our projects to learn and to incorporate what we find into future projects. So it's been a real gratifying and satisfying work so far.
All the stuff would be gone. You know, there's definitely sea level rise happening, and the weather's getting warmer because we don't see the ice that we used to at all. When I was a kid, like we could snowmobile like Bridgerton, New Brunswick, like any day of the week, and now I wouldn't even walk on the sea ice.
The transformation really is pretty cool. I was looking at the before and after photos with the minister, and he called the changes fantastic. So this is one of the 2 new offshore reefs that was just finished this winter. The beach is already building back behind it, but there's still some work to do.
It's going to be very interesting over the next few months for me to go out, take a look, take a walk along that beach, and see just the impact that the additional reefs have had.
A project like this doesn't come cheap. The minister says it cost the province about $3.4 million. And I asked him if they would be adding more. He says for now, they're just going to keep an eye on the ones that they do have, make sure that they're doing their job, and the beach keeps building back.
I'm surprised at how fast the sand actually builds out. Yeah, it's like this is only a month, and we're in probably 4 or 5 feet of water at the reef. Now there's none. So.
And is your work done here? Is there anything left for you folks to do?
We have some cleanup to do, and we're just waiting for drier weather to do it. But we have some remediation, a little bit more sand fence, but we're pretty well complete.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says one of the biggest challenges for young people is renting. Today, he said new measures will be in the budget next month.
As part of our upcoming budget, we're going to create a Canadian Renters' Bill of Rights. It would create a nationwide standard for lease agreements, give renters a clear history of apartment pricing so they can bargain fairly, and make sure they have more agency.
Trudeau plans to provide legal aid to fight unfair rent increases and bad landlords. And he wants renters to get credit for on-time payments to be used when they apply for mortgages. Welcome back. Well, here on the Avalon, it feels like spring is starting to settle in, but it's still frosty in many parts of the province, like Labrador.
Yeah, and our outdoor columnist, Charlie White, loves ice fishing. He let us tag along while he was out scoping for smelt.
Hi, my name is Charlie White, and today we're going to be here in Point Mall ice fishing for smelt. Smelt is a small little saltwater fish that will actually come up into the brooks to spawn. People will normally start fishing smelts as soon as we get enough ice out here to safely do so. Before you go ice fishing, you're going to need an auger or an ice pick to get through the ice. Augers are the easiest. You're going to need fishing rod, whether it's a store-bought rod or a homemade rod. You're going to need some jigs. You're going to need some bait. I like to use squid tentacles. Some people use chicken skin. And you can also use artificial lures. When you're at a lake or an area where you're going to go ice fishing and you don't know what the ice conditions are, you want to drill a test hole first. You're fairly close to shore. Move out another 10 feet and drill another hole. They say anywhere between 4 to 6 inches is good for humans out there on the ice. Personally, I want a foot of ice or more under my feet. It's always good to fish with others, but if you're going out by yourself, make sure you have some sort of safety plan. You tell somebody exactly where you're going and exactly when you're expected to return. Okay, so once you get out to your spot and you've determined where you're going to be fishing, you drill your hole. And as all that snow and ice is coming up out of the hole, I like to try and clear that away. Once my auger breaks through the ice, and I'm going to quickly plunge up and down with that auger, I'm going to pull up some water, and it's going to help flush that hole. And then after that, I'm just going to take a little scoop, and I'm going to scoop out that hole. Now it's time probably to bait your hook and get fishing. So something to keep in mind when you're fishing for smelt, patience. Patience is your most successful tool you can take with you on that ice. Whether or not you catch any fish, it's just a great time to get outside in the fresh air and enjoy this wonderful Newfoundland and Labrador outdoors. So if you want to see more fishing adventures, check out my YouTube channel at NL Ghost Wolf.
Unfortunately, that's not something that you can do on this part of the island anymore. It looks like a lot of the ice is gone from the ponds, but good advice there about patience this time of year and any time that you are out fishing.
Yeah, for sure.
So Ashley, looking kind of spring-like. What about the rest of the week, moving into the weekend?
Yeah, definitely. Temperatures way above where we should be sitting this time of year, which I'm sure some people are very happy about, considering we're at the end of March. Let's take a look at what's going to happen. So your Thursday evening is going to be fairly wet, and by the time we get into early Friday morning, we are also looking at some very showery activity. I'm just gonna walk right off screen and go fix my computer because it's not working. But yeah, we're definitely looking at lots of shower activity for your Thursday evening and into Friday morning. There we go, we got it working. And it's going to bring some heavy rain right along with it, especially as we head into the afternoon hours for the west coast. Same thing for the southern areas of the island. Up across Labrador, though, we are looking at those temperatures, going to be on the chilly side. So it is going to start as snow through Friday, and eventually we'll see some of that milder air move up towards Happy Valley Goose Bay, where you will hover around this about 3-degree mark. But the island, anywhere from 6 to 10 degrees through the day. Northern Peninsula at about +4 as well. And by the time we get into the evening hours, we're going to continue to see that rain. So Environment Canada does have that special weather statement in effect for the Northern Peninsula and southern areas of the island. We're talking about 30 to 50 plus millimeters of rain, and that will fall in that time frame. So by the time we get into Saturday morning, most of that shower activity will be right across the board across the island. So we're looking at some heavier rain for the eastern portion of the island, and then up across Labrador, again, southeastern portions up towards Happy Valley Goose Bay. You're still going to be seeing some rain, but we'll be on the snow side by the time we get into the evening hours for Lab West. Then you are looking at your chance of some showers. But yes, your temperatures will top out at about -3. Overall, daytime highs anywhere from 8 to 11 degrees for your Saturday. And as we look ahead to the end of the weekend and early next week, those above zero temperatures are going to continue, except for Sunday night, where we will likely see those temperatures dip below zero briefly. Now, for central and western Newfoundland, we're looking at more in the way of the chance of some peaks of sun in the mix, but our daytime highs between 3 to 5 degrees, and again, overnight lows dipping into the minus single digits. Labrador, you're looking at single digits as well, with some flurries Sunday and Monday. And then for Western Labrador, -4 for your Sunday, and Monday you will top out at about +1. Now this shot, doesn't this look like a postcard? Literally postcard perfect. This is a sunrise at Cape Spear. Thank you to Stuart for that lovely shot. And if you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, the best place to do that is email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Beautiful photo, Stuart. It looks like a postcard,
It
like
does.
you said. It's so nice. Good job.
Good shot.
Yeah, well, what's your favorite Shania song before we go?
Oh, that's too tough. Every single one of them.
I know, I was listening to Greatest Hits earlier. Yeah, they're all great, aren't they?
I really can't tell you which one is my favorite. Every single one of them.
Every single one. All right.
Now I gotta go home and listen to it. As if I don't every single day anyway.
All right, that's our show for this evening. Thanks so much for being with us. Good night.
Good night.